So my voice changed, dropped a couple octaves, and I decided to go behind the scenes. So I started making films in high school, and I actually learned on 16mm film, and I learned how to edit film on a Steenbeck, so literally cutting and taping film together. And then continued in undergrad at Brown, kind of making a little bit more, they were more narrative, but a little bit on the experimental side. It was just kind of me and the camera, and again, 16mm. And then I went to NYU Tisch grad film right out of undergrad. So I think I really fetishize film itself, and that's why, we tried to make this look like film as much as we could. We shot this on the Alexa, which is a great digital camera because we couldn't afford to shoot on film, and used this giant zoom lens from the 70s.
And you made this pretty soon after you graduated, or this was?
No? So I started film school. Kim and I were both in the program together. We started in 2007, and you started in 2008. So we finished classes in 2010, and then you're supposed to take 2 years to make a thesis film. And it used to be that everyone made short films, but our class is crazy, and we all kind of pushed each other to do features, and out of the 34 people in our class at NYU, 12 of us have made features so far. So actually in my second year at grad school, which is your first kind of big film, it's a 10-minute short film, I made it about the same guy that this is about. We're gay in the book, and we're allowed to fully explore their films a bit more. So that, and then also it was really important for me with this and in all my short films at NYU, because the second year film that was about that guy, and then in my third year I made a short film about a guy in the 80s whose ex-boyfriend gets AIDS, and he's so scared and terrified at the whole situation, so he goes out to try and get it himself, a bug chaser. And that's, I think as gay men, it's important to know your history, and at that time I just kind of like fallen down the rabbit hole of the whole 80s AIDS epidemic. And but with all my films, it's really important for me to create authentic representations of gay men my age, which I think you see so rarely on screen. Not caricatures. And we see so many coming out stories, and I'm just sick of them. I just wanted to tell a story about gay men where their sexuality was not the thing that defined them. They were just men who happened to be gay, and they're just trying to go about their lives like everyone else.
Very monogamous gay men.
Yes, yes. I am quite a monogamous gay man. I've never been able to juggle guys. I'm not really into open relationships. That's just me.
So let me ask Kim. I teach a lot of. I teach at graduate film schools, and so I think it's interesting for me to hear about how people put these things together, challenges and things that you had to overcome, and how you went about doing it, because it looks incredible. It looks like it looks like a very big budget movie, just from the look of it. And so what do you guys do to kind of make that happen?
Well, the budget was very small. I mean, it was way under $1 million, and basically we had to find locations that were ready to shoot. And we used a lot of NYU talent. I mean, our DP, who fucking killed it, Leo, he's in France right now. He is incredible and really knows how to light with the smallest lighting package. And he used to be like a union gaffer before he came to NYU. So he can use an inexperienced key grip and an inexperienced gaffer and tell them exactly oh, put that kino flow, blah, 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 this height with this on it, and it looks amazing. And so, yeah, we just begged and borrowed, and I mean, it being a student film, people gave us definitely breaks and donations, and Lincoln Center, they gave us that location for almost nothing. Same thing with the big theater. So yeah, there were a lot of donations with the film.
And we raised it over, I think, 7 or 8 months in very small chunks. And yeah, it was just a lot of panic attacks on the floor.
But basically, learning how to stretch what you have, or make what you have, work and make the most of what you have, basically.
Definitely.
And And I think what Kim said about Leo is really true. What makes things look very expensive is a great cinematographer, great locations. I mean, especially lighting.
Yeah.
It's just, lighting makes everything look so much more expensive. I mean, it's one of the first things to go in indie films with small budgets because, there's not time for it or they're inexperienced. And then we have this great costume designer, Mitchell, who it was his first film as a lead costume designer, and he would take really inexpensive like H&M tuxedos and have a tailor just like change the lapel, change the color, tailor the shit out of it, and that's why the clothing looks so expensive. And he got a lot of things for free.
So maybe you can tell us a little bit about what Joey was like, with the actors, and let's hear your experience, and then I want to ask Joey a little bit about something.
Yeah, absolutely. So Joey is one of the more patient directors I've ever worked with, alongside being so playful. And it was so fun on set because we were allowed to be collaborative and be this little team working together, but you were so effortlessly guiding us through a script that was so personal to you, but I was so impressed by your ability to give focus to others on set. So.
And was there a rehearsal? What was tell us a little bit about the process.
We did have a rehearsal. We had a kind of rehearsal. We talked about what animals we wanted to be, I think.
Yeah.
There was a whole animal thing.
Yeah.
It was great. Like, immediately, all of us, I missed everyone. I missed everyone last night in the New York screening. But yeah, he created a little family. For sure.
And so, Joey, I guess you've done some acting and sort of understood that, and sister's an actress. And how did you go about working on, the more emotional scenes and these very kind of intimate situations?
I think first and foremost, what I love when what I try and do on set is just create a very safe environment for the actors. And when it's a very intimate, emotional scene, it'll be a closed set, like most places. I think that it's just about creating a safe and respectful environment to my actors. I learned so much about directing actors on this film. I mean, I have directed actors before, but on a feature, it's just another story. And also, with the level of talent in the cast in this film was just another level as well. We had a great casting director named Susan Shotmaker who cast the film. I actually did auditions, I did chemistry reads with my leads because it was so important. I cast Britt off tape because her audition tape was so fucking amazing. And like Britt said before, we didn't have rehearsal time. We just had one day before we shot, and it was just about playing icebreakers and getting everyone to feel comfortable with each other. But the things I learned most about directing actors is that every actor needs something different from you.
And then some on the English Patient, Ingela talked about being incredibly specific so that the actors wouldn't have to even worry about how it looks.
Yeah, I probably tended to be more specific. It's funny actually. Pam, my best friend over there, who we just did a podcast about directing sex scenes, and we were talking about this, and Pam was like, "Why do you gotta be so specific?" I was like, "Let him do it." For me, I think, when you're directing a sex scene, again, it's a closed set, and I feel like as a director, you're almost acting as well. Like, you have to set the vibe in the room and make it really comfortable for everyone. I was a little apprehensive of some of those scenes, especially the sex scene between Tim and Charlie. That's very intimate, and my actors were very nervous that day as well about it. And so I talked them through it, and I just talked to them about what are the important beats in the scene. So I go through the basic choreography of it, but I'm not telling them exact timing. And then kind of let them find the timing, just know that, okay, you're gonna be making out, and then Tim's gonna, try to initiate sex, and then he's gonna put his legs, hit your legs over his head, and then, blah, 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 you're gonna try to enter him. It's your first time bottoming, so this is like what it may feel like. And I didn't know whether the two actors were gay or straight when I cast them. It wasn't important to me. So I spoke to them as if they didn't know what gay sex was, just in case. So,
opening up to the audience. So someone said to me, "Oh, it's sort of like a Bret Easton Ellis story," and I was, maybe it's sort of like a Bret Easton Ellis story with heart and sincerity and people you actually care about. And I'm just wondering, was it tricky to, because you're dealing with characters who, and some, they're sort of struggling a bit, some of them want to be, creative and are going after difficult creative professions. But it's also sort of this higher kind of echelon of, class. And so I guess what I'm asking is, I see a movie like Sofia Coppola's was it Somewhere, that I love, and I just think, everything about it is great, but I think there was inherently something a little tricky about getting us to, if you indeed wanted us to feel sympathetic, because he's still driving a Ferrari, as bad as he feels, he's still driving a Ferrari, and he's, and he's a movie star, and, and I can relate. I mean, I'm a movie star, I'm an actor, and I felt horrible at times, but to actually tell a story about it and get people to feel for those characters, you're setting a little bit of a challenge for yourself. And so, how did you deal with that? Because I think we do feel for these characters, but how did you go about doing that?
So in the writing process, it was important to me that everyone wasn't of the same, economic background. So Sebastian is extremely wealthy. I wanted Charlie to be more, upper middle class in New York, and then his friends to kind of be like on the spectrum. But they all are, in general, like pretty well off. In terms of getting people to sympathize for Sebastian, part of the reason I didn't make him the main character was because I didn't want to try and do that. I was like, okay, some people are just not going to like Sebastian, and that's okay, even though, I have a great deal of love for that character. So it was an adjustment in both the writing process, and we did a lot of table reads and kind of judging people's reaction to it and playing with how much of a villain Sebastian would be and how much over the line he would go in terms of the things he said and